Hey B-Siders, welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim.
And this is also Jim.
That is incorrect.
This is also Jim.
That is also incorrect.
I'm Danny.
Whew, one more and you'd have to have gone to, either like Squid Games or Hunger Games or something.
Go to podcast jail.
That would be terrible. I don't even know what that would be.
Oh, would it be you can't stop listening to podcasts like they're always on? Or would it be that you can't listen to any?
Huh. Well, I guess each has its own thing.
It does.
Not every podcast is my cup of tea. But I also like listening to stuff, so I don't know. That's a tough one.
It is.
Might have to put that out to a poll.
Yeah.
What would it be like? Always or none at all?
It's would you rather, right?
Would you rather? See, someone's going to hear this and they're going to have another fucking would you rather movie. And it's going to be about podcasts.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Speaking of podcasts.
Yes.
We have one.
We do.
And you're listening to it right now if you hear this.
They are.
And did you know that we have a website?
That would be the one at lordsofmisruleproductions.com, correct?
It is.
Excellent.
And there you can find all the stuff, links to our socials. I don't think we need to list out everything that's on there because it's
just go hit one of the Patreon links, sign up, $5 a month. You get things a week early. And, like I said, and have said many times, if we get more, then we can do more stuff for the subscribers. But it's just kind of, hard to do that when you don't really have that many. But,
right. Well, speaking of which.
Yes.
If this is your first time listening to our podcast, we talk about B-movies and the lessons you can learn from them. And indie films, mostly, actually.
Yeah. Started out with B-movies, but, ended up doing a lot more indie films than B-movies.
Yeah.
But we still do them.
And if you're listening to this podcast, then you're listening on some kind of podcast platform. And I bet you dollars to donuts, there's a follow button or a subscribe button.
Yeah. And there's a rating button.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a button you can click to leave a review.
Heck yeah, there is.
That would be cool. And most importantly, I'm not going to forget it this time, there's a button to share.
Oh.
Yeah, you like what you're hearing? Share it with everybody else you can think of who's also either interested in this kind of stuff or actually doing it, which is sort of the whole point of what we're doing. Is our little line is every movie has a lesson.
That's right.
Good or bad has lessons on filmmaking, especially the indie films, because we have stuff that is really like low-end studio budget stuff. Mm-hmm. And by low-end studio budgets, like 40, 50 million,
right
down to the stuff that's like 40 or 50 bucks.
If that.
That covers some of it's just like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that covers the whole gamut of indie filmmaking, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And speaking of, not only do we talk about them, but we have interviews with people. Check out our past episodes.
We sure do.
We have a lot of interviews with a lot of fantastic indie filmmakers, B-movie filmmakers, and like Alex Cox. That was a mainline movie.
Yes.
Fear and Loathing. But yes, we talked to Alex Cox. We talked to Barney Burnham, who's an Oscar-winning makeup effects artist for Star Trek, and just all kinds of other folks, actors, writers, producers, directors, people who are like all of them.
Right.
Because, indie filmmaking, many hats.
And even once we talked to a script doctor.
We did, Matthew. And we talked to an author who did a novelization of Redwood Massacre.
Yes.
And it was Annihilation, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, Redwood Massacre Annihilation by David Ryan Keith, who also did Redwood Massacre and Attack of the Herbals and so many other things. We have plenty of interviews with him and cast and crew, and especially Liam, his separated Siamese twin.
That's right.
Who's been in this from the beginning.
Yeah.
But also we have talked to and mentioned many times in the last multiple episodes, Kyle Hester.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have him on the show.
That's right.
Beginning of November,
We'll be recording.
Yeah.
So it should come out probably sometime just before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it'll be out before Thanksgiving. But yeah, he is working on the movie Preacher 6, which we've talked about, which that's what we're going to talk about in the interview, because that is going to be an excellent lesson for filmmakers, whether you're already in it, but also just getting started, because this thing has been years and years and years in the making and has had so many problems. They lost a whole disc, lost all this data with VFX work and everything, and had to redo it,
Oof.
start over. He's got Patreons. What is the one? Buy me a cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's what it is. It's fundraising. If you're going to get an indie film, you got to raise money.
Yeah.
Unless you're independently wealthy and you're just like, I'm just going to make stuff. You know. But yeah, I reached out to him because Preacher 6 is about a month-ish away. And we're going to talk about, it being completed. Tracy, is his wife, is going to be starting a Kickstarter for a novel. And we'll have more on that when we get the info. So he's a busy dude.
Yes.
And because of the Kickstarter, November is a better time because they're busy with that. Kyle, you can find Kyle on Instagram, Kyle Hester Actor Guy. You can find him on YouTube, Kyle Hester Films. It's also, I believe, if you search Hollywood Magic Films, he'll come up. Kyle's been in a few movies and TV series. And yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's been an embarrassingly long period of time since we've last talked.
Yes.
But I've been following him.
Well, at least, on the podcast.
Yeah, but I've been following him on his YouTube and stuff and keeping up with stuff. He is also, we're going to talk about other documentaries, because we do, folks, if you're new or you haven't caught it yet, we do have an episode on documentaries. Excellent way to get into indie filmmaking.
Yes.
100% under your control, and you don't have to worry about timelines and stuff. A lot of good lessons there. And we're going to talk about his just turning stuff into documentaries.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch up there to get views for the channel, and it's monetized and everything. So yeah, we're going to talk about the knuckle bleeding efforts it takes to get this stuff done. And he is like a really good example of, you just keep going.
Yep. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. So that's what's coming down the pipe. Everything else, like I said, join up.
Yeah.
Yeah. $5 a month. That's a Starbucks of some kind. A small
Not
one.
even a big one. Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, smallish one.
So.
What is going on as of late? Real quick follow-up. Did mention in the last episode, and I put it up on the Patreon, that things might be a little wonky in terms of releases. We're still dealing with medical stuff, appointments, things coming. So be patient, bear with us. As much as, we love doing this, some things are more important.
Yeah.
So, we'll get it done eventually. Trying to think.
Well.
Oh, we lost Ace Frehley.
We did.
Not a movie guy.
No.
But Kiss.
Yeah.
Come on. Kiss. One of the foundations of, 70s rock into the 80s. You love them or you hate them. It's one of those things. Some people, there's not too many in betweens.
Love them.
Love them. Grew up with them. Awesome. And read a lot of cool stuff. A lot of people credit him with picking up the guitar. They heard an album or saw him on a show, when they did a performance. And I think, can't remember now because I didn't make notes. Some very formidable rock stars.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that people credit these legends of rock, from the 60s forward. I heard so-and-so and I'm like, oh, that's what I want. They pick up a guitar, they have their own band, multi-million-dollar career. I mean, that's awesome.
It is.
And I don't think anyone in the business of any kind of entertainment could really ask for more than that, to be someone's inspiration, to find their own place.
Yeah.
So it's sad, as they all are.
Well, we also lost Diane Keaton.
We did lose Diane Keaton, who is Hollywood royalty, or
Mm-hmm.
was. I hate to say that, but so many movies, with Woody Allen, for good or bad, depending where you are on the Woody Allen front. But she's been fantastic. Great comedic actress,
Oh, yeah.
as well as a great dramatic actress.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. A lot of things going on out there. More people. Another George Lucas interview where he's just like, Hollywood sucks. Get out of it.
Yeah. He ain't wrong.
No. And, I'll just say my little bit. Hollywood is on the machine. Someone's going to come in and pull the plug. It's going to flatline. And there's going to be a new reinvention of it somewhere, somehow. But I think indie film industry is really just like creeping in, and it's going to become the standard.
It will.
Anything you can think of before we dive into this bad boy?
Not film related.
Okay. Anything loosely related?
I mean, you guys killed Strahd yesterday.
Yeah, we brought a year-long campaign to an end victoriously. A little bit of sadness to it, but yeah, we conquered. I do want to also say that as we're recording this, we're a couple weeks out from Halloween. We are really disappointed.
Where's all the Halloween categories?
Right? We have gone through all the fucking services and we're trying to find, like you go to Tubi, they had a whole fucking thing. Halloween. That's all it was called. Yeah. Halloween. And all of the great Halloween movies and then some other things splashed in there. Nobody has these categories.
I know.
Which is such bullshit.
Horror isn't Halloween.
No. It isn't. There's a lot of movies that are really good that take place on Halloween and don't really have a horror aspect to it. Mostly thrillers.
Yeah.
Sometimes suspense.
And also horrors.
Well, horrors is the number one. The whole point of Halloween is to,
be scary.
Yeah, come close to shitting your pants. And I don't know. There's also not like a lot of Halloween stuff going on. I feel like this whole politically correct latest generational thing is killing off like Halloween. Because I'm sure it's culturally fucking insensitive to someone somewhere, right? Even though this is a thousands of years old celebration that most people have no clue what it was or where it came from.
Yeah.
But anyway, disappointing, especially from the movie aspect.
I could give a whole lesson on the history of Samhain and Halloween, but
that would be a whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
we have a movie. This one also discovered while I was laying in bed for 2 fucking weeks. Watching stuff. Saw the trailer for it and I just kind of liked it. I recognize the faces. It's one of those, it's full of actors who you're like, oh yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Because there's both the leads, her and her boyfriend, the detective, have been in dozens of things. Everywhere from like Angel and Buffy to Ozark to I just all kinds of like one episode here, X-Files.
Yeah.
Either an episode or been in a series as a recurring character, lots of movies, going on to, do directing and producing and stuff. So I gave it a go and showed it to you. I'm like, what do you think?
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
I'll talk about, I don't want to like preempt stuff. So we'll talk about it during the movie.
Okay.
Why I'm like, ooh, it's got XYZ.
Ooh, it has this. Ooh.
So, would you like to tell us what we have?
What we have is a movie called Madman.
Madman.
Madman, yes.
Madman. Sorry.
One more time.
Madman. Well, because I was just thinking Manborg.
This is not Manborg. It's Madman. It was it came out in 1989. It was directed by Tibor Takacs. I hope I did not butcher that.
I mean, goes
Takacs.
The standing apology stands every episode, folks. Yeah. We're sorry for butchering your names.
Sorry. Written by David Chaskin, starring Jenny Wright, Clayton Rohner, and Randall William Cook. This was rated a very interesting PG-13.
Yeah.
Budget $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the plot, or the logline. A bookshop clerk and wannabe actress starts seeing the disfigured killer from her 1950s pulp novels come to life and start killing people around her. She tries to convince her cop boyfriend, but to no avail.
I read that.
So I want to tell you, the first sentence, saying it out loud, I felt like I was having a stroke.
Okay.
So, wow.
I mean, log lines. Here's the funny thing, and we've talked about it before. It's so important. So we haven't mentioned Stage 32 in like a million years.
Right.
Folks, so there's a website, stage32.com, that we're members of. And it is instrumental in getting you access to producers, agents, managers, folks who are, looking for scripts.
It's definitely a pay to play sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $35 to submit like a written, or you can sign up to do a verbal pitch.
Yeah.
Right. And more for like script things, but you can pay like hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get them to actually read it and call you and spend an hour on the phone with you. This is where we've met a lot of people who've had a lot of interest in our scripts. And the thing holding them all back was, we don't have a history. Right. And we talked about our series Sorsha that, they want us to, make a graphic novel that sort of sidetracked us on this stuff. Anyway, it is a wonderful place to get into contact with people who are like you. That is your tribe. These are all creatives.
Mm-hmm.
They do have some things on log lines. And if you don't want to pay for it, you don't want to like sign up with this. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. See as much as you can, because a log line, for us, we read them and we're like, WTF.
Yeah.
Where did that fucking come from?
I go, what? I mean, this isn't inaccurate, this log line.
Right. But it's the phrasing of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
crafting it. Crafting a log line is as intense of an art and skill as writing the script itself. Because when you have a verbal pitch, you have like the elevator pitch. What can you say in 30 seconds? That fucking log line better be locked down and bam. Because that person who has millions of dollars to throw at you is going to hear that and be like, holy shit, I like that. Or,
Right.
And means no. It's so important to work on your log lines. Please, please, after everything else, when it's done, spend a good couple weeks hammering on that thing. Have people read it. Have them talk back to you. What does that say to you? How does it sound?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want someone reading, like if you put in a written pitch, that log line's got to be up there. You don't want that person to feel like they're having a stroke. I mean, you just don't.
Right.
So important. So important. So pay attention to that. I did put some notes further down if you want.
Oh, sure. So this won the Saturn Award for
Mm-hmm.
Best Actress, Jenny Wright, 1991. It also won the grand prize at the Aviora's Fantastic Film Festival 1990.
Mm-hmm. And that went to the director.
Yes.
So it is not without recognition.
Right.
And we're going to talk about this movie.
Indeed.
Unless you have anything more to add.
Nope. I was just switching
over.
That's right. I was switching over to my notes.
Awesome. All right. Well, how about we dive into this bad boy?
Okay.
We open with a shot of an old downtown hotel. Looks kind of run down, but not like dilapidated. We have a strange looking man who we learn is Dr. Kessler leaving. He's got a bag in hand. It's not a briefcase. So, I don't know what to call it. So I call it a bag, handled bag.
Right. He looks a little Nosferatu-ish.
Really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what when it came out. I'm like, because it's happened.
Spooky.
I've hit play on a thing and somehow it jumps to another movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes me half an hour to be like, what the fuck? I'm in the wrong film. So yeah, he looks a little, like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Quite a little bit less nose.
Slightly.
And no long fingers. So after he leaves, passes the front desk dude, and the front desk guy gets a phone call, and apparently there's something that he has to go check out. Animal noises coming from one of the rooms, according to a complaining tenant. And apparently the room is Dr. Kessler's room. So front desk guy is really nervous to go. The manager shows up. It's like, well, we got to look into it. And the front desk guy's like, eh. So the manager decides to go. He goes up, lets himself into the room. And we hear a faint noise, kind of rough to make it out in the beginning. So we're looking around. The camera's panning around. This room is filled with books, jars, and stuff all over the fucking tables. Like, this dude's not just renting a room for the night. This is one of those where he's living there.
Right.
And paying the whatever weekly rate for the hotel, which was, a huge deal. Still is in some places. And old food containers, just all kinds of shit. Then we hear another noise. And then we focus in on a small crate, and it's got, which I call it a crate, but it's like a travel trunk on its side.
Yeah.
Like tall wise.
It's like a tall suitcase.
Yeah, it's got holes punched in it, air holes. And the manager spots some animal shit, presumably. Mm-hmm. Either that or it's Kessler crapping on the floor near the crate. So he goes to leave, and then he hears what he thinks is a child. And he runs over, he unlatches the crate, calls the front desk, tells them to call the police, and then we see that the crate is empty. And then we have a POV of something stalking the manager. So again, presumably whatever's making these noises. And then this thing jumps up and attacks. There's a scream, some breaking glass, and then we cut to a young woman laying in bed reading a book.
Yes.
I just want to stop real quick. So that thing that jumped out, you don't get like a rock solid view of it.
I mean, it looks kind of like a homunculus type creature of some sort.
Yeah, it's a stop motion animation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Harryhausen kind of thing, which is cool.
It is.
Because it was super, because they didn't have CGI. So that's what it was. So anyway, you get a better look later, but it was kind of cool. So anyway, this woman who's reading a book, and she hears a noise. So she gets up, she opens the front door, looks up and down the hallway, and then closes it. And then there's a shared door. So at first, when you see this, you're thinking she's in her apartment, right? And then you see that shared door. So, my first thought was, oh, she's also renting a room. Maybe she's in, because a lot of these fucking rooms have shared doors in these old hotels until they realize this is
it's
super
like an adjoining
bad idea.
Room.
Yeah. But the need for that was not great. And it's a security risk for everybody. And then, so we hear noises behind that door, and then suddenly the entire fucking wall caves in. And she's attacked. And then we quick cut to the same woman sitting in her loft apartment, and she's holding a book called Much of Madness, More of Sin. It's an old book, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've seen is her visualization of what's going on. So she calls her boyfriend, leaves a voicemail. Her name is Richard, and I missed her name. So
her name's not Richard.
No, but
her boyfriend's name is Richard.
But I missed her name.
Yeah.
Because she said, this is so and so. But I was busy making notes.
I missed her name also, so.
Yeah, it'll come later, folks, as it always does. So then she picks up some, where am I? She looks down and sees a rose on the floor. Now, this is important because in her visualization, there was a small thing of roses that were knocked to the floor in the struggle. And she looks at it kind of like, huh? Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice little touch. So then she goes and looks out her window. It's one of those LA. This all takes place in LA, which I want to talk about when we get to that. So she looks out her window, and of course there's, another apartment building across the way, and you can see in. One of them is, there's a repair and restoration store at the bottom. And she can look in and she sees a man playing an old piano. Someone buzzes. It's Richard. So she picks up some trash as he comes up. She gets a chilled glass of beer for him. This is really wild. This sort of like set the relationship. And I thought, why?
I know.
He comes in, he's less than affectionate, right? And then she ends up going to she keeps chilled mugs in the freezer. And she's like, "Would you like me to get you a beer?" Like, yes. So she does. Like,
Sure.
that's pretty sweet, but it's kind of a dick. Uh, so while she's doing that, he finds her book, and then he starts mockingly reading the jacket notes. Then they end up making up on the couch, end up talking about the book. She explains Dr. Kessler is raising some creature as his own son, a jackal boy, a boy who was born of jackals. And I just noted, this is not the hottest bedroom talk I've ever heard.
Are you sure?
Well, she might be into it because she's just like going on and on and on, right?
She
And
talks about how this book, she's like, it's like potato chips.
yeah, you just can't stop. He's not at all fucking interested.
No.
So, yeah, like I said, might be doing all right for her, but he's just not there. And then, and this is like my biggest criticism about this film right here in the beginning is we have a lot of that awful 80s to late 80s sex on screen that just makes you want to fucking cringe.
It's very cringe, and it's also fairly explicit for PG-13.
Well, you don't see anything. It's not like fucking Brown Rabbit where, she's actually giving him a blowjob on screen. But it is, they would call it sexually suggestive scenes is I think
Right.
the popular phrase right now. So it's like simulated
Mm-hmm.
kind of, but I mean, again, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of what you would see. But that does bring up a good thing about PG back then. We've talked about, I've seen a lot of PG movies from the 80s where there's full frontal nudity
Yeah.
for women. Nudity for men did not come until the 2000s. Only a few
Right.
like indie art films ever showed a man's schlong hanging out. That's the quickest way to get banned in America back then. Anyway, so yeah, if you watch an 80s film where they're getting it on, folks, you know what I'm talking about. Cringy sex, which really didn't need to happen. So anyway, we finally get to the next day and she's at work and she works in a bookstore. She's a clerk.
Mm-hmm.
So she's talking to a coworker. Apparently Richard wants her to meet his family. And it's not a very positive conversation.
Right. She's not super into this.
She doesn't know if she wants to get serious, but she acts it. She's like all 110% into him. And then he's, acts like a douche.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But now suddenly she's, I don't know, she didn't really say it, but she likes to want to play the field or keep it cash or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, it's her and her coworker / friend. I guess it's not a busy bookstore. They're just chatting it up. So then she starts looking around for a book called Madman. And apparently it is the sequel to the book that she's reading.
Right.
And that book came from an estate sale. So there's like a pile of shit they got like up in the attic or the upstairs of this bookstore.
Right.
Of old books and papers and stuff they got to go through. And she happened to find Much Madness and More of Sin in there.
Mm-hmm.
And now she wants to know, where's this other book? It has to be there. Can't have one without the other.
Right.
And so she decides to go upstairs. And as she's looking, she hears some noises. And then she sees that crate.
Yeah, that suitcase with the holes in it.
Yeah, that we saw in her vision or her imagining. A little bit of tension. She opens it. Bunch of shit falls out. There's nothing in it.
Yeah, it's just books and papers and junk.
Curiously enough, the same books and papers that were surrounding it and sitting on top of it in the vision.
Yeah.
Because one of them was those little toy things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ends up finding nothing. And then she starts walking through the stacks, and then she sees a man who looks remarkably like Dr. Kessler.
Looks exactly like Dr. Kessler.
Sitting up on a ladder, looking down at her. So she gets closer, and then he's gone.
Well, she sees him in a mirror.
Oh, is it the mirror? I thought she...
Yeah.
saw him like through the stacks and then maneuvered through, and then he was gone.
No, she saw him in one of those, the like store mirrors
Oh,
they put
yeah.
up, the anti-theft mirrors.
Oh, sure.
It's one of those to see
Okay.
around corners and stuff.
Got it. Well, he's not there.
He gone.
He gone. So, and then we cut to what is apparently a play rehearsal. Takes a couple seconds, and you realize, no, it's an acting class, and somebody's presenting. So she's sitting there, and some dude comes in, and then sits next to this woman, and asks her out to dinner to talk about one of their classmates behind their back.
Yes.
That's the woman who's up front doing the scene with this other dude. She declines. And then she's carrying groceries home. At her door is a book wrapped in a brown bag. And you know it's a book because it's shaped like a fucking book.
Yeah, it's not hard to see a book.
Yeah. So she picks it up and she goes into her apartment. And I have to say, I got to point this out. Her apartment is absolutely fucking luxurious for a bookstore clerk's salary.
Right.
This is one of those LA super loft things. I mean, it's like 22-foot fucking ceiling. This thing is it's bigger than this cabin.
Yeah.
Right? And we know what bookstore clerks make. It's not like she was working at Walden Books at the time or, no, it was one of those. They have
it's a used bookstore.
Yeah, they have a few new ones up front, but yeah, it's all just stacks of shit. So anyway, good for her. I guess she's a budgeting guru. So anyway, she goes in. There's a message from Richard. Apparently he has to go on a narcotics stakeout, so he's a detective. She opens up the wrapping, and it's the book Madman.
Ooh.
And she thinks it's from her friend Mona
at the bookstore.
So then it's night. There's lightning. She's reading Madman. It's dark. She gets up to get a drink. Then she's suddenly in a dress with pearls, hair done, very 50s, early 60s, not really so much beehive, but that weird wrap thing. And the apartment is suddenly much nicer.
Yeah.
And there's these strange sounds. So she walks around in the dark, looking around. I will say, though, when they set this up, that mid-50s kitchen looked fucking gorgeous. I'd kill for that right now. I would take that exact kitchen and throw it up there in ours. The appliances were just magnificent. And then suddenly there he is, Dr. Kessler. He says, he fixed it. It's a clean slate and a fresh palette. Like, okay. And then he pulls his scarf away from his face. I should have mentioned he's wearing a scarf. And there he is. He's cut off his nose, lips, and ears.
Yep.
Because the protagonist in the book apparently thinks he's ugly and he wants to marry her.
His solution is to cut off all his features.
Yeah. I'm like, that's how you do it.
That ain't sound logic.
Shouldn't be in a 50s horror book. He should be doing self-help books.
Yeah. Nailed it.
And then we suddenly flash back to the real moment as she sees this horrible, thing going on in his face. There's a knock at the door, and then she grabs a poker. So there's also a fireplace in this monstrous fucking apartment. Somewhere. And someone's trying to turn the knob, so she hides around the corner. And this dude comes by. She's about clobbers him in the head. It's Richard. So he gives her a little chiding about, lock your door. Typical what a cop would say. And then her kettle is whistling. He sees the book, Madman. He's like, oh, great. Sets down the pizza he's carrying. Across the way, piano dude is working away on this old piano. And then they're in bed.
Gosh, you sound so excited.
Well, I just, these kinds of things are meant to be like intimate. And in the 80s, it really wasn't about intimacy. It was about weird camera specific positions to simulate sex. And then just let's put them in bed and just have like a terrible conversation kind of thing. He tells her that she's been distant, right? And then she asks, how much does he love her? Red flag. Nothing to do with this. Red flag. And then asks, enough to cut off your ear? Well, at this point, the conversation has taken a deep, deep dive.
Yeah.
He is not impressed with the question. She tries to explain it's in the book. The woman in the book thinks the doctor is ugly, cuts off his face pretty much so he can make a new one. And Richard really hates books, period, it seems.
He's against reading.
Yeah. Well, her books anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, but yeah, that's, whatever.
Well, he tells her she gets weird when she reads, quote, that shit.
Yeah. And I don't know. Nothing about these two make it seem like they should even be together.
No.
Right? At best, they could be like booty calls. Come over, do the deed, and fucking split. Because nothing they do together has any kind of bonding.
It's true. And they're both fairly good looking. So, I mean, a booty call relationship between them would be understandable.
I mean, yeah, just go with what you know. You
Yeah.
don't want to be out there every night looking for someone. You got a regular hookup, but then you guys just like fuck off to your own lives after. I mean, that seems like that would be ideal for them.
Yeah.
Because this isn't working from a cursory observation. So later in bed, she's laying there awake. She turns on her light, starts to read. Richard's sleeping. And then we get some book narration from Kessler himself. And then we're at some dive bar in the 50s, complete with a sailor standing outside in an old 50s sailor, which I admire. They didn't just put a sailor out there in what would have been an 80s sailor outfit, right?
Yeah.
Uniform. Because having worn one, I would have picked that right out. But no, this was actually from the 50s. It's a little bit baggier, a little bit more kind of cloth, before the polyester train came in and replaced regular materials. So he's having a smoke. A woman walks out and he calls her Red.
Yeah.
She's got red hair, luxurious, curly, thick red hair. And you guess that she's the woman he's trying to woo with no face.
But she's
not.
She's also the actress.
She is
our main girl and her theater friend we're talking about.
Yes. She envisions that her classmate as this particular woman. So a woman ends up walking down the street and then into some very well lit fog. Lots of sudden fog. He follows. She starts to run, goes into an apartment building. His shadow shows through the glass of the front door. She abandons waiting for the elevator, starts to go up many, many stairs.
I mean, enough that despite the like noir feel of this movie, it starts to feel ridiculous. The amount of stairs. It almost feels like it's making fun of classic horror.
A little bit. Because there are a lot of brownstones, just like, in New York. In
Yeah.
LA, there's a lot of stuff that has no elevators in that. And when the elevator doesn't work, and the ones that do have them, there can be a lot of stairs. But usually in filmmaking, we help you get up to wherever this person's going.
Right.
By not taking you along the entire 43 floor ascent. But anyway, 80s. So goes up those stairs. He ends up breaking the glass in the door, comes in, she runs, he follows. And well, actually he walks.
Yes.
This is a very Friday the 13th Jason kind of pursuit thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like swaggering. And then she can't open the door. He walks towards her with a syringe. She almost makes it in. He injects her, eventually passes out, and then he pulls out a straight razor and fucking scalps her.
Yeah.
Right? And then we snap to the woman in bed who closes the book quickly, turns out the light, and goes to sleep.
So then we see her waiting at a bus stop, and she pulls out the book. When she's about to board the bus, she gets nudged from behind, and she turns to see Kessler standing there with the hair sewn onto his head.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty good because it's not just like the hair itself. It's like he put the scalp, matched it up to his own.
Took like 2 inches of her forehead scalp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sewed it to his own. That was cool.
It's pretty good. He asks if she likes the color, and then she turns and he's gone.
Yep.
So then she's in the bookstore. She's opening up the store, and there's somehow a cat in there.
Yeah.
That shocks her. And then the other employee, Mona, says she found the cat, and she's like, I'm going to keep him. So she sends our main girl upstairs to go unpack the estate sale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes up there and she discovers that stuff is all from Malcolm Brand, who is the author of both of those books.
Right.
And I wonder why she didn't notice that before.
Maybe she just like the book was somehow out and she's like, oh, before paying attention to stuff. I don't know.
So then she asks Mona if she left, or she like thanks her for the I, Madman book, asks her where she found it. Mona's like, I don't find it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So then later she sees a headline on a newspaper saying that actress she didn't like was slain.
Yes.
So she calls the police station and asks about Richard. And the guy says he'll have Richard call her back.
Yeah.
So she's at home, starts flipping through TV channels. Apparently there's nothing good on. So she sees the book and it has like slid out of her purse. So she stuffs it back in.
Yeah.
And then she looks away and looks back and it's coming out of the purse again. So she goes to the window and opens it to hear the piano playing.
Mm-hmm.
That guy across the street in the repair shop apparently is always playing the piano.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
We've gotten a lot of shots just like, this guy exists.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees Kessler there in the repair shop. And she tells him, oh no, he's there in her apartment. And she tells him she'll never love him. And she's like she's the actress from the book. It goes back and forth between a lot.
Right.
But then it's her again in her apartment. She slams the book shut and her apartment door slams. And then she sees that black-clad figure going around a staircase in the hallway.
Yes.
So when she goes back in, the book is open, which she just shut it.
Right.
So she shuts it again, and then she sees him across the street near the repair place.
Mm-hmm.
So she calls 911. She watches him creep up and kill the piano player. Then he shuts the blinds, and we can see his shadow like cutting stuff off of the piano player.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before that, she did pick up the police to call 911 or pick up the phone to call 911 about a murder that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And that's all happening. This is the point at which I learned her name is Virginia.
Oh, see, hold on. I got it just a moment later.
Okay.
Because then Richard's at the crime scene. He looks out the window, the crime scene in the repair shop, and he sees her. And he calls out Virginia, which is how I got her name. Finally. So then he knocks on her door. He asks if she saw what happened and, were you the one that made the call? And then she's at the station with him. She's telling them that he also killed the actress with the hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's shown her his missing nose. And Richard is like, what?
And piano dude, he cut off the ears.
Yeah.
Of the piano dude. Yeah.
So he tries to get her to start over, and she is not explaining herself very well. She sounds insane. Just telling them that a character got out of the book that she's reading.
I noted we get the line, this all must sound pretty crazy, which was prevalent in 80s movies of any kind.
So they obviously think that she's troubled. So Richard pulls her aside and asks what's happening to her. He tells her the book isn't real and instructs her to wait downstairs while he finishes up with the police. So
there was just a funny part. So in all this, first we see her working with a sketch artist.
Yeah.
And he's like, this, and she's like, eyes closer together, stuff. And it seems like it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. And then all this shit starts coming out. And the dude sort of like in the background is packing up his shit and ends up walking out.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, this isn't, she's
Nope.
batshit crazy or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome little touch.
So when she goes downstairs, Kessler's outside of the elevator and he steps in and he has the ears sewn on now. And he says that he'll have her heart one way or another.
Yes.
And then he leaves and she collapses. And then one of the cops helps her up.
Mm-hmm.
So that she's in the lobby and starts reading the book again. But particularly noting that it says it's nonfiction and has an address in Hollywood. So she's like, oh, so it's close. So she goes to the address. It's Zeit Publishing. And goes up in. There's a fast-talking guy in the office. And it's a smut publishing company.
Yeah, they publish porn books.
And he literally says, yep, I only publish smut.
Yep.
So she shows him the book and he looks kind of disturbed. Starts talking about how Malcolm Brand was a lunatic, spent his life in a rubber room, and then he escaped and was found a week later torn apart by dogs.
Yeah.
But he has an estate somehow.
Right. And he wrote these books in the nut house.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know what the estate was, but anyway.
So, yeah, he goes on with this story about him being crazy. He says Malcolm claimed they were confessions, and he did really cut off his nose, mouth, and ears.
Yeah.
So then Virginia calls Richard from a payphone. He told her to wait downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But she's calling him from a payphone and telling him she knows where the next murder will be. And he brushes her off.
Yeah.
So then later she's at the bus stop again. Her actor friend, he's got curly hair, so that's what I call him.
Sure.
Comes up to her. He mentions the actress and then invites Virginia over for pizza. And she's like, no. She's staking out someplace. The library, I think.
No, this was some dive bar.
Oh, right. So Kessler is running across the street then after her friend, whose name is Lenny.
Can we stop for a second?
Okay.
And talk about that scene?
Yeah. The run?
Yes. Okay, so Kessler is wearing undeniably turn of the century clothing for 20th century. So late 1800s, early 1900s. He has the whole dark look.
Like a plague doctor kind of
coat.
But
then he has this cape. This magnificent cape. And so there's two things at work here.
And the red hair.
Yeah. But running across like this giant intersection, right? It's like
a Times Square intersection.
Yeah, it's like a 5-point massive fucking intersection. So he runs the longest way across that. And so first of all, let's talk wardrobe. Fantastic choice for this because that cape is flowing behind him. That hair is just flowing like in 100-mile-an-hour wind, and it just looks but here's the other thing that we have working for us. The way he's running is like something out of fucking Peter Pan. He is so gleeful.
It's like a cartoon run.
Yeah, this does not at all look like somebody who's about to go fuck someone up. He's like, woo-hoo-hoo. His fucking arms are flapping up and down. The cape is going. Oh my God. If you were to cut that scene and loop it, I bet if you stuck that on Instagram, it would get 20 million views. People would not be able to stop watching it.
It's amazing.
Even if you didn't add a sound to it. It was just like, oh my God, he's so happy.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, I bet what they told him was run and get as much movement in your clothes as you can.
Probably.
Right?
Probably. Be animated. And he did. Holy shit, he nailed it. But it just, and I'm not mocking it. It was so,
I am.
I'm not. It was so unexpected as the thing. But I mean, he clearly played the part. He clearly did something for the camera to capture. rather than just some dude like jaywalking an intersection, right? At a Jason Voorhees pace,
Yeah.
kind of thing. He was alive.
So he's going after curly hair guy.
Yeah.
And corners him, cuts his nose off, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees this happen and she just runs away.
Yeah.
And then the police are at the scene. The lead cop from before is talking to Virginia. It's not her boyfriend. It's like his supervisor.
The lieutenant. I just keep calling him detective, but he's the lieutenant.
Yeah. So he sees her and he goes, oh, hell. This girl's just been at 2 murder scenes. She's trying to tell you something is going on. Like, maybe you should listen.
Right? It's pretty formulaic. Again, 80s.
And she's, she's just a hysterical woman. This was a great, great trope in the 80s. And in the 70s, actually. So she tries to tell Richard again, and he's like trying to manage her.
Yeah.
So then she's like, you should read the book. And then later, I mean, he's reading a little bit and he says, maybe there's a copycat.
Yeah. The first words out of his mouth that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And an acknowledgement that maybe she's not completely off kilter.
Right. But he also, if he's a good detective, should be wondering if maybe she's doing it.
I mean, that's kind of the thing when you say there's going to be a murder and it's going to happen exactly like this, and then it does, and then that same person has told you of 2 or 3 others, you have to wonder, this might warrant a little looking into.
Right? So there's a bit in the book about the lonely lady librarian talking about her lips, something about a stone cold cat. The first thing I think is that it's about Mona.
Yeah.
But that's not what she thinks.
No.
So Richard asks her what happens to the girl in the end. And Virginia says, oh, he cuts out her heart and wears it around his neck.
Yeah. Well, she susses out that the main library in L.A.
Yeah.
It has 2 giant stone lions in front. So yeah, Virginia's like, that's where it's going to happen.
So then she's talking to Richard while she's at the bookstore about the library whole thing. And they go and they're staking out the library. Meanwhile, Mona tells her that she's going to finish off the estate sale tonight. Virginia can take the night off for her stakeout. And at the library, the cops are wiring up the librarian. Mm-hmm. Virginia's in the background here. And I'm going, why is she there?
Because in every good cop movie, the non-officer spouse, girlfriend, or booty call or whatever is always present.
So they're telling the librarian how dangerous it is, and then she faints.
Yeah.
So Virginia, of course, steps in her place. Mm-hmm. And I think if they really think this guy has been watching the librarian and is after Virginia, 1, why would they think he would be fooled by this very thin ruse? And 2, why are you putting your main intended victim as the bait?
Right.
This is a very terrible police department, a very terrible plan. It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like, and this is going to go to folks who probably have no recognition of this name, but it feels like watching a spin-off of the old cop. It was a sitcom, Barney Miller. Mm-hmm. Took place in a New York precinct office. Detective Wojciechowicz, Harris. Ron Glass played Detective Harris, which you know him from a lot of things, not the least of which good old Book from Firefly. He was a tragic loss as well when that came. But anyway, it was a sitcom. So obviously they're not the greatest detectives, but it all takes place in the precinct. That's the thing. This is one of those shows where they didn't go out and do stuff. It was all there in the detective's room or whatever.
Right.
Which was pretty cool. Pretty cool. But it seemed like, God, these guys are even dumber than And so, then, like I said, like it's a spin-off
Yeah.
of, how incompetent can we be today, sort of thing. And that was the other thing too. Yeah, is she doesn't look anything like the librarian.
No.
It's not like it's a case
Not
of
even a little.
not even a little bit. Okay, so here's the other thing. How does she know what the routine is?
Right.
Because that librarian was out for a while.
I know they're go through your regular routine, do everything the same as you would normally do. And I'm like, how is Virginia going to know any of this stuff?
Yeah. So anyway, so she's starting to do the close down routine, which is basically making this giant fucking building as dark as possible.
Yes.
And she does have an earpiece in, so she can hear them.
Uh-huh.
Or no, she's mic'd. She doesn't have an earpiece in.
Right.
Sorry. So she's mic'd. So they're listening to her, but she has no way of hearing them.
Right.
Which, in the late 80s, you could have easily had a transmitter, right? She could have had an earpiece in.
It could have been two-way.
Yeah. Did not seem like the safest or smartest setup. And then all of a sudden, the shadow of Kessler is on the floor somewhere. I mean,
it looks like the library.
At this point, you can see that she's not the librarian.
Right.
So why would he keep going? But he does. So then she goes into the microfiche room. And you know how we know this? Because she says, I'm entering the microfiche room.
Just like that.
Remember we talked about the yelling rogue yesterday?
Yes.
Reminds me of it. It's important because not only does she say it, but there's a sign as she's saying it.
Yes.
And then she hears some squeaking and then some footsteps. So she hides and then says, he's close. Richard and team take off. Abandoning their listening post.
They've got cameras.
Yeah.
Like on her.
Yeah. But they just fucking run. So they get there and it's the janitor.
Yeah, they really blew their whole fucking wad.
Yep, that was it. Well, it's over because they forgot to let the janitor know there's a stakeout and a violent, murderous criminal could be on the premises.
Right.
But they let this poor bitch go ahead and do his job.
Yeah.
Right? And he looked like he was just, hey, I'm at work. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Right? Poor dude. And then Richard, then we're outside. The whole thing's a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Richard has another cop take her to his place. So she's pissed off that he's giving up. I'm like, what? Which makes no sense because the whole fucking thing is blown.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, okay, everybody. It's not like shooting a scene. Okay, reset.
Right.
If Kessler was watching, he'll just ignore this. All right, so now we're back at the station. The detective lieutenant is just pissy. Wants to talk to Richard. This isn't the first conversation he's had with Richard in this film. We weren't privy to them, but Richard seems to be in the principal's office a lot.
He is, yeah.
Which, given his detective skills that we've seen so far, one could argue deservedly so.
I actually did write. He gets called into the principal's office.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Now, Richard at this point has, up until now, been the quintessential LA studio Hollywood filmmaking detective.
Yeah.
He has his suit, his loosely fitting suit, his tie that isn't all the way up. It's kind of down and rumpled, the suit jacket that's not buttoned, and the trench coat.
He himself is a little rumpled. He's got a little bit of a shadow.
Yep, he's got his shadow. His hair's
Beard.
not brill creamed back,
right.
And like I said, the trench coat, which has been the defining thing for police in Hollywood for decades. But now he's wearing like a worn leather jacket. Like he's suddenly like Mr. fucking GQ.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't understand that. And I bring that up because let's keep going. So at Richard's place, Virginia starts reading the book. Okay. Again, I'm not tearing it apart, but this is something that's happened in many, 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 many films and even in recent films. So this hasn't been thought about or discussed with any reasonable outcome. But if you were being tormented by a fucking book, wouldn't you stop reading it?
Well, the other thing is, like, the police, once they knew that the killer had been copying whatever's happening in this book,
Right.
they should have taken the book.
Yes. Read it and start to posit which.
Well,
okay,
even
where
if
could
just
this
a
next thing happen?
catalog is evidence.
Yeah. Well, and
At
if
the bare minimum.
and if for no other reason, somebody there should have thought this bitch could be just batshit crazy to the point where she's doing it. If we take the fucking book from her, because she hasn't read it yet,
Right.
she hasn't finished it. Maybe we can stop another murder if she doesn't read how to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, none of that happened. So we got Richard in his leather jacket. Virginia's back at his apartment reading the book. And then she somehow, and I've seen it twice, and I still didn't get the little flip of the switch. She somehow comes to realize that Mona is the target.
Right.
Didn't quite make sense to me.
She's like, lonely librarian.
It was a pretty big leap because it's a bookstore.
Lips.
Yeah. It's not like Mona had these like sumptuous lips that, you look at them on screen and you're like, she's the one. If he wants a pair of lips, especially a pair of women's lips, those are the ones to get.
Yeah.
I mean, Mona was just normal.
Yeah.
Right. So she calls the police station. Another detective answers the phone, says Richard's busy because he's still being talked to by the principal, and writes down a message. All it says is bookstore urgent. And then he's going to go give it to Richard. Another detective comes up and says, what are you doing? Giving it to Richard. Richard's getting yelled at. Give me that. He's like, oh, it's from his fucking wild girlfriend. He crumples it up and tosses it. You're doing him a favor, but not giving it to him.
Well, he just leaves it on the desk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He left it on there. So, and then we have a cab. Cut to a cab pulling up at the bookstore. Virginia gets out, lets herself in. The phone is off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually reminisced about
the
this.
Noise. I did a little bit too.
Nostalgia. You just, you don't get those scenes anymore because almost no one has a landline. Most kids under the age of 16 have no fucking idea what a real phone is. Right? And we know this speaking to some of our daughter's friends. Like, what? What? Yeah. So anyway, it's dark. She calls out to Mona. She gets nothing. Finds the cat licking up blood. Has bloody feet. Around the corner, she sees Mona. Her lips have been cut off.
I want to say throughout this whole thing, there have been, and they're subtle, but they're in the background. There have been noises that sound kind of like this.
Yes.
Like kissing noises.
Yes. Which at first I took as the cat.
Right.
But then when it was stopped licking, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Did the Foley guy fuck up? Put like 20 seconds of sound on a 10-second clip? It's happened.
It can.
But then, yeah, you realize that's no cat. Okay. Then, yeah, she sees Mona with her lips cut off. Kessler comes out from or is in the shadows and saying it's their wedding day. And then, bam, the chase is on. She goes to the front of the store, breaks the glass in the door, and somehow there's an iron gate trapping her in the store.
Yeah.
Those security gates.
Yeah.
You close your store, you walk out and you pull that down so people can't come in and bust your windows and shit. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Maybe he secretly put them down.
He could have secretly done it, but I also can't help but, again, suspension of disbelief, but those motherfuckers are so loud.
I know.
In fact, they use that in thousands of films over the years.
The sound.
Yeah. Because it always has like a place to set the tone or the mood or to interrupt or something. Anyway. So I'm like, who the fuck closed and locked that gate? She just walked in there.
I know. I wondered that too.
So there's a pause in the chase because this is apparently a mind scrambler. And then And he stops coming after her because he's probably.
So she can just huddle by the door and cry and have a mental breakdown.
Yeah. And I guess he's giving her some space.
For several minutes.
Yeah. And so then she goes back in. And in that, I think Kessler got lost.
Right.
In the bookstore because he was right fucking behind her. But this whole gate thing has fucked everybody up.
I guess.
So he's somewhere trying to find his way out. He's in the stacks, wandering around in the dark in the back. And then all of a sudden he grabs her through a bookshelf, one of those things, you know, the two-sided bookshelves. The chase is back on. So then he ultimately catches her. He's ready to cut out her heart. It takes a bit to do it. And then is shot from behind by Richard. He gets up and charges Richard, who loses his gun, gets thrown into the estate pile stuff, knocks the crate. Nothing happens. As they struggle, Virginia picks up.
Yes. I know what you're going to say.
Virginia picks up the first book, somehow magically laying out, right? It's her book.
Uh-huh.
And then she flips to the part where it talks about the Jackal Boy. And the Jackal Boy appears.
So while her boyfriend is fighting for his life against this self-proclaimed madman.
Yes.
Who has killed 2 people in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 people off screen.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm going to pick up. You know what I would like to do right now? Some light reading.
While that gun is feet, just mere feet from her, and she could have picked it up and shot the fucking dude. Or if we want to get a little more ridiculous with plot, she could have like picked it up and given it to Richard.
Right.
Because after that gate scene, I feel like that's not out of the question. That you would walk up to a struggling pair of people
here
and yeah, give this person, here you go. And that the other dude would be like, oh yeah, you know, time out. You got your gun? All right. Game on. So anyway, so the Jackal Boy appears. Now the whole thing is, in that book, she did comment earlier that he's raising this creature that hates him.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into it because it doesn't mean anything. So anyway, this is where we get to see Jackal Boy like full on. So this is the same thing that popped out way in the beginning. And again, it's stop motion animation. It's a very nondescript kind of thing. It really is just weird as shit looking. And then it attacks Kessler. Kessler kills it by running it through a window and then breaks like the bottom half and the whole top half of this giant window. It's a kind of window that when you see like a big factory, it has the office like in the middle, that little box.
Yeah.
And those big windows. So all of a sudden that big top half of the pane comes loose, cuts Jackal Boy in half. Kessler closes in. And then all of a sudden the top half of Jackal Boy is using
still
his hands.
Somehow alive.
Yep. Just kind of chunk, 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 chunk coming after him. They end up flying through a window. And then weirdly, a hurricane of loose pages, thousands.
I think they turn into pages.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Maybe? I mean, could be, but there's a lot of pages, just 2 dudes.
It is.
And there weren't that many pages in both books combined.
Yeah. They explode into paper.
Anyway, all these pages are flying out of the window into the city. And then, Richard and Virginia both watch the pages fly away and we're done.
Yeah, everything with the world is right again, except all those people who died in real life.
Yeah. Other than they show this, where the pages are coming out, they cut to like the block. And it's like a residential block.
Yeah.
That's not how the front of the place looked.
No.
It was, like a, downtown LA, at least business district LA.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there is Madman. I think we have some things to talk about with this.
So let's start with the bad.
Sure.
Because there is a lot of good.
Yes.
And I kind of want that to be the end of.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
So, yeah, there's a lot of continuity errors in this film.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The story isn't quite what I hoped it would be. I could kind of feel what they were going for,
Right.
but it just it seemed over-engineered.
Well, it wasn't the most well-written script.
No.
We were talking about before we started all the episode, because we'd watched a couple horror movies recently, just background watch, where there were some issues about was it necessary. I will say from a technical side, one of the flaws is there's a couple scenes where you can see the shadows from the crew and the equipment.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that was not well thought out.
No.
We'll come back around to that kind of thing.
I mean, one of the first things that popped in my head was when the manager was searching the hotel room in the book,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they showed that scene. I was like, do the lights not work in the room?
Took him for fucking ever.
He never turned on the lights.
Didn't he use
He used like a flashlight or something.
Yeah,
But the hotel room presumably has some lights.
I would guess. I mean,
You know?
yeah,
And it seemed like they did some pretty good set design. So I was really ashamed to waste all of that for searching through the dark plot device that doesn't actually make any sense to the story.
right.
And there's a lot of that
Yes.
where you're like, why? What the fuck? Like, why is this person
Right.
doing this clearly stupid thing?
And so let's talk about quick the budget.
Mm-hmm.
$3 million in 1989 was not a small amount of money.
No, and this movie you could see they had money to play with.
They did. Also, this was an indie film,
Yes.
which ended up being a B movie.
Right.
Right? Because the distributor picked it up and what was it? MGM?
Something
I
like
think
that.
yeah, and then a couple other little studios. Which is kind of how it worked. A lot of these small studios or groups would make something, but they have the connections, right, to get it picked up. So they had access to it. $3 million even today. We would have a hard time raising that,
Oh, yeah.
right? And most even today, indie filmmakers like $3 million. Holy shit! I could make like a fucking 12 film opus.
I know.
With all that, I think these problems are because of those kinds of studios. It's very much like Asylum Films. The script writing and everything is like bam, bam, bam. I bet this script was written in less than 30 days from beginning to end, concept to finished, shooting script, which is, I think, very obvious in this film. And so many from the era like it.
Yeah.
You can it's just like, get it, boom, 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 boom. All right, get that script. All right, go, because we're getting ready to get this and we're getting casting and we're going to shoot,
That is kind of what's been kind of bothering me about it is that it feels like it was meant to be an art film, but it was shot like a B movie.
Yeah. I think if they had someone, a script doctor or somebody, sit down with that script and repair it a bit, I think this would have absolutely been an A-level studio film, even though the leads were not. They were B movie level at the time,
right?
In terms
Or
of
at
career.
the very least, a high quality art film.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of hints of the remnants of that dream.
Yeah.
That didn't quite.
And one thing that really could have used some help is the transitions between the book story and the real story.
Yeah, my first time through,
it was confusing.
It was confusing, and there's, like I said, there's a couple moments where it's like, am I in the right thing, or did I miss something? Because there was like one moment, because I was watching it casually because I had nothing else to do, and okay, it's like, close your eyes, put your head back, and then you open them up, and it's like, Jesus, did I sleep through that whole fucking film? Because two people auto start shit all the time.
Will.
And I'm like, what am I in? Oh no, it's the same one. Okay. Huh. that was not clean. And that comes down to both the director's fault and the editing.
Yeah.
Whoever the editor was, which may have been the director. I don't know. I didn't scan through the credits to see.
No.
Because a lot of times in the smaller films, the director will be involved in the editing. And that whole thing of, the final cut, they have, final cut power or whatever, which hasn't gone over super well for a lot of things that we've seen. It's like, well, you should have let someone else have the final cut because sometimes they don't know how to let go of stuff. And I feel like at some point, like maybe it did start out as an art film.
Yeah.
And then, nobody was standing up to the guy saying, look, man, that ship has sailed, right? We've got like wreckage on the beach and, but that's it. We can't make an odyssey out of what's left. We need to pivot.
This is a Carnival cruise at this point.
Yeah.
The toilets are backing up. Nothing is working.
Yeah. So for the money that they had, I did want to comment, I'd mentioned at the beginning. So this thing was shot completely in LA.
Yeah.
A lot of it on location, which still happens. They still shoot in LA. Any given day, you could go down a street and it's fucking blocked off.
Yeah.
Because somebody has a permit for however many blocks of whatever to shoot whatever. And that's kind of the whole thing of people going to LA is hoping to catch a movie being filmed. And like Batman famously through the streets and stuff, turning corners in the Batmobile, and they had to do it like 50 times because the thing couldn't fucking turn and stuff. People love that show. I would love it. I would love to hang out and watch this, and then one day I'll get to see it. It has a plus and minus.
It does.
When you shoot a film completely like in LA, the continuity between the front of the store and the back of the store. If the front of the store is in a business district, the back of the building is not in suddenly a residential neighborhood.
Right.
Right? It doesn't work like that. And next to the building that's where it started. There was this building bit that they showed, which could have been like it looked like an old textile, like storage building.
Yeah.
I don't want to explain it, but that's what it reminded me of. But then there's like a house next to it, and then just rows of, all the way down and across the street. Well, from the front, you would have seen the backyard, or at least another house. But no, it was another giant building. It was part of a giant building,
right?
A bookstore. So, yeah, continuity problems. Some of the places where the murders and stuff took place. It's like setting up in that, the corner of a building.
Yeah.
Right. And just trying to focus right on that. It had that rushed feel. Like they were just pacing, shoot, go, shoot, go, shoot, go. It's like, could we do another scene? Nope.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Yeah. I mean, nothing in this film held up to close scrutiny.
No. Well, speaking of, so close scrutiny, in a movie like this, when you do get to the moments where there's like effects, okay, not the greatest,
but definitely not the worst.
Not the worst. I mean,
they're 1989 through 1993 grade.
I'll put it at a solid B.
Yeah.
In terms of what they did do,
and for the era.
Yeah. The Jackal Boy,
yeah.
It was actually pretty good. The design of the thing was just weird as shit, and I thought it was pretty minimalist.
It was.
Well, first of all, it didn't have hair.
No, it was kind of like a Slender Man-y, but it was just like a naked, no genitals kind of.
It's like a weird cross between like a baboon or like it had that long face, a bald one, and I don't know, something out of like Gremlins. It was just really weird. But the thing with like hair and stop motion animation, that hair is the fucking worst.
It's true.
Just watching the old King Kong, like he's just sitting there, makes a little move with his hand, and his whole body, the hair's rippling. Like you can't do anything about that.
No.
So I think they may have made a good choice of no hair on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to mess with it. And in terms of its placement and superimposing on stuff, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't hovering above shit and kind of like walking through stuff, and it was pretty good, even though the design of the thing itself was minimalistic.
Yeah.
But there's I could we could talk about dozens of movies that had stop motion effects from the 80s that just didn't. They're just no good.
No.
No. So this was pretty. I mean, I would say it's pretty solid for what it was.
Okay.
And maybe budget wise, they made the choice not to have a whole lot of gore. I mean, it was PG.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it wasn't crazy gory, but there was blood and,
Yeah. But I mean, nowadays we see more than that.
Yeah.
Like Bones, especially.
That's true.
That would have never aired in the 70s or early 80s ever. Uh, so for budget, a lot of locations. I think too many primary players, too many like detectives and tertiary characters that kept showing up and had lines and didn't add to anything.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it seemed like clearly it was identified that there's a hole. So we're going to do this scene. We're going to put this dialogue in to cover that up.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
It is.
And again, that's the era. Pound out these low budget films.
On the other side of the coin, though, unless you have more stuff you want to talk about, that's bad.
No, I think really what was going on was get it done quick. Do the whole thing.
But also cram everything you possibly can into it.
Yeah. And they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did. And not all of it made sense.
No.
The character development, they tried to do some we could have done without it because it made each character make less sense.
And none of them showed any growth from beginning to end.
No. Now, I will argue in a horror movie, I've said this a million times, you don't
really need it.
We don't need character growth. We don't need story. We don't need anything. We need first murder and we need last person standing. That's usually, that's the formula. And in between, ideally for you and I, buckets of fucking gore.
Yeah.
Right? Buckets and I mean, like nonstop. That's like, thank you.
Yeah. Right? Buckets of blood, gallons of gore.
But this was not necessarily horror.
It was more like psychological,
like thriller horror. I mean, it was horror it's in the genre.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more of a thriller kind of thing, psychological, because of you don't know if she's going. And that was the thing. The first time I saw it, I'm like, at the end, is she just going to be batshit crazy? Because they're all calling her crazy, and sometimes they do that. The red herring's not a red herring.
Right.
They're actually giving you the fucking end of the movie, but surrounding you with so much shit, you just like, I don't even know.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's really it. The editing could have been tighter. The direction could have been better. The script needed some work before it was finalized. That's my downside.
Yep. Now on to the good.
The good stuff.
This was fun to watch.
It was.
And that's what you want a film to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and it sounds like a silly lesson, but it doesn't matter how low budget your film is. It doesn't matter how high budget your film is. It doesn't matter, if you're trying to make a film, what you want. I mean, you don't need a perfect art piece. You don't need to work every bit of character backstory into anything. You don't need to make the scariest horror movie. You don't need to make your film fun. To watch. And this was.
It was. And, we had talked about it recently. The first thing that comes to mind is Cargo, the short film.
Yeah.
Not the long one, not the feature. That is like the pinnacle example of how to keep people glued to the screen.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a simple situation. And it was like 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it was over 15 minutes.
No.
I don't want to say it was a no budget film, but it was certainly super low budget short. because
That's correct in terms of like, equipment and stuff and props and
the behind the
set and
scenes stuff
everything.
and the production stuff, there was some little bit of money involved because it was tight.
And a lot of talent.
Yeah. And I hope they paid
Mm-hmm.
them, that dude especially. But the idea was so wild that you could not look away.
Yeah,
Like, what? How is this? It was just really good.
it was very compelling.
And, it was fun. Now, this we had some plot holes, had some script issues, but it was fun to watch. I mean, it was enough that I would watch it twice because,
Yeah.
second time with you for this.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, for me, that's the top positive.
Yes.
It's a huge one, and it matters.
It does. It does. Because I would recommend people watch it, not just for the lessons, but, it's a solid watch. And yeah, there are going to be things that, you're going to look at. Because the other thing, too, is when you watch a movie like this from the 80s, even even through to the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Right. The formulas, the whole things, the vibe of the film is its own thing. And you have to buy into that at the beginning or none of it's going to work.
Right.
And they didn't think of it at the time because we're making the movie today and we're going to show it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking 30 years later, how's it going to look? Right.
Right.
Because, at that bracket, you don't care, even at like a studio level, you're thinking so we're making this movie and how's it going to do in the next 14 days after release?
Yeah.
We going to get our money back or am I out of a job? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
The acting was good. Nobody's going to get.
Yeah. I mean, it was good.
Super recognition. The characters were super tropish.
They were. It was very difficult for any actor, I think, to provide a really like emotional or exceptionally compelling performance. So it's not fair to ask that of them.
Well, no. Yeah. That's right. Because I mean, Jenny Wright won an award for
Mm-hmm.
Best Actress in that kind of bracket, in a film festival, which means the capital movies aren't there.
Right.
Right. And that's fine. She did a good job, but yeah, I don't think the material was enough where they could bust out. Richard, I know we have his name somewhere, but anyway, like I said, those two have been in so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get to do that by not being good.
Correct.
Right. And I don't mean like spent their whole career in the background as like a guest character, on a this or that or whatever. I mean, they've been at it and they've been in big series as leads and they've been in some movies, so yeah, they're not good or, they're not,
bad.
Yeah, they're not bad. They just, and plus it was early in their career for both of them still.
Yes.
So you wouldn't expect complete honing of the craft. Right. Mm-hmm. But you can see that, yeah, they know what the fuck they're doing, whereas Mona in the bookstore was literally every line was just to secure the trope.
Yes.
And that was it. And she had very few.
Yeah, she was a half-dimensional character.
Right. Well, she was someone for Virginia to talk to
mm-hmm.
and go into the whole thing about the relationship thing, which had no business being in there.
Honestly, no. What they should have filled that with, if they wanted this to be more of an art film, would be like her talking about, crazy books and, book lore and stuff and how like stories can come alive and like.
Yeah, something to support the crazy shit that's about to come down.
Yes.
Right. But as far as like character development, this is the problem with character development. Most of it is absolutely unnecessary because it doesn't lend to anything. It actually it was a waste of film and all the salaries paid to edit it
mm-hmm.
and sound mix it and stuff. Because that whole bit had nothing to do with her, gave me no indication of anything that had to do with the story.
Right.
And that part of her knowing that she's not into a serious relationship meant nothing to me because it didn't influence any of her decisions.
Right.
It didn't, do anything. And you don't get the sense that at the end, they're going to go have some more weird 80s sex and then get married.
Right.
Right. They're just looking out the window.
Maybe it was there to serve so that we knew that she wasn't completely unaware of Richard's flaws, of which there were many.
Sure.
Because when she was with him, she didn't act like she thought he had any flaws.
No, and that's the problem with that whole character development monologue of hers with this, wants me to meet his parents bullshit. They completely countered that with her acting like this total submissive, lovesick
Yeah.
little puppy girl, right? And he's just like, here.
I know.
And it's not, trying not to get in the negative. It just didn't work, but it didn't reflect on her,
Mm-hmm.
her acting skills. So, the Kessler,
Oh, yeah.
I will argue this is a flaw in the film. Could have been more Kessler.
There could have been, because he was great.
I could have absolutely had more of him on the screen.
Yeah.
And I will say, after the run across the intersection, I was really hoping we'd get more into him.
Yeah.
Now, there's a guy I'm interested about his view on relationships and stuff,
They really should have painted this whole movie through Kessler's eyes instead of through Virginia's eyes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. If we had the script in our hands and we had been asked to, give it a read, make some suggestions, I would have suggested that kind of thing, because I would like to know more about him and his perception of what he's doing. I would have been way more interested in the story.
Yeah.
With that, and then we see her, right? And then you can still play the same line. Is she going batshit crazy? Is this her narrating him in her mind outside of it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Just that whole what's going on.
You can have a real mind fuck.
Yeah.
With that. That's a good suggestion for people. If you got a script and for whatever reason it's not working, see if there's any other character you want to tell the story from their perspective.
Yeah, shift in perspective can you'll end up having to rewrite the entire script.
Yes.
Just for flow.
Yes.
Right. But there's a lot of it that you can port over, the conversations, interactions and stuff, some of your babies. You can bring them in. But yeah, with a different veneer, it could be much more interesting. It could solve your problems.
Yes.
Right.
It could make it a whole different film.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because this would have been very different, but I think just as fun through his eyes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I could have used more Kessler.
I know.
He was good. There was a problem at one point.
I was delighted every time I saw him.
I know. Well, up until towards the end, because when I saw him, my mind was busy trying to figure out what's going on, because they had the conversation. Was it Kessler who's coming out of the book, or is it the fucking author? Because they talk
right
that
Malcolm Brand.
Malcolm is. These were all confessions. And then there was also a bit they talked about the porn publisher. He got paid to publish that book for Kessler, and it was, or for Malcolm, and he put that in the front, nonfiction, because it was a demand of his and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he was in that conversation. It made it seem like because he said like the characters were talking to him and not doing what he wanted.
Malcolm said the characters were talking to him and not doing what he wanted.
Yeah. So towards the end, I'm like, so what is this? Is this actually Brand, or is it Kessler?
Right.
Especially when both these were written while he was in an institution.
Did he make these books magical with his craziness?
Yeah.
Somehow, or is he the crazy one who thinks he's Kessler and?
Yeah, there was, again, see.
And he didn't really die when he escaped or whatever.
We could have taken the script and we could have pulled the pages out, everything to do with that publisher. Right?
Yeah.
And would have made no difference in the film.
Nope.
It would have actually removed the confusion at one point. And there we are. You've got to cut. You write your first draft, that thing should be dripping blood by the time you're done cutting. For the second draft. That it's hard. We know. We hung on to
a lot of babies
and pages of babies.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
zombie script
Yeah.
just because of all the
The work
months
that
and
it took.
months we researched it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just, it was, I think it was almost 6 minutes
Mm-hmm.
of just science talk
Yeah.
explaining how a zombie would actually work. And folks, if you're interested, drop us an email because we can fucking tell you. We went through the brain, the nervous system, and all the systems in the body. What would it take to get it moving,
We
keep it
developed our
moving?
own theory on how to create zombies
Absolutely.
in
So,
in real life.
yeah, they may be coming. That's kind of how we got started on it because we were fantasizing about creating a zombie apocalypse, you and I.
Yeah.
So, if we get that film made and you see it, folks, yep, those characters are based on real life people.
And they're
The desire to create an apocalypse. That was us.
yeah. Yeah. You know, write what you want to see.
Yeah, write what you love. But anyway, yeah, we added extra characters in there too, so take the light off a little bit.
Take the heat off.
Okay, so let's talk about editing. A lesson, it needed to be tighter.
Yeah.
And it needed variety. Smash cuts are not the answer to everything all the way through a film. You have to figure out how to do a fade in, fade out, crossfade, some sort of transition.
Yeah.
Rather than just cut. And that was, I think, the biggest problem with the editing is it just.
I mean, simply having a different, cross transition for now we're in the real world. Now we're in the book world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the book world. All you do is every time you transition to a book world scene, you use that, let's say a crossfade.
Yeah.
In the regular film, when you're transitioning from scene to scene, regular ones that don't require other special transitions.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You just do a regular fade.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so I liked how this began with us in the book, in her head. We find out,
Mm-hmm.
right? That shot from the book to her, I think, was stark enough. It was the one time in the film I would argue that
was clear. Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, but after that, it needed a little more attention,
Mm-hmm.
a little more finessing,
right,
in those transitions.
Well, that was okay. So the first scene, the neighbor, the woman in the hotel, right,
mm-hmm.
who called the front desk or whatever, and then she got killed by the thing.
Mm-hmm.
When it cut to Virginia, I did not understand they were supposed to be the same person.
Sure.
Right? Because she looks different.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the same actor playing the book roles.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that I could have made that clear. Make the book one look the same every time, basically.
Sure.
Right? She can be wearing different dresses, but that's a character.
Yeah.
Just ideas for how to handle that.
I think.
But when it switched to Virginia, I was like, is that the same woman? What is happening?
Yeah. So I think what would have helped is that hotel scene and the Kessler scene could have been way more 50s.
Yeah.
Because it actually, if you've been to these places in LA, they're still there, right? They're kind of lost in time. They have like a permanent 70s feel to it. And not like weird disco colors and stuff. But there was nothing about this opening bit that led me to believe we were in the 50s. Because even her dress, it's Los Angeles in the 80s. Anyone dresses in any fashion you can imagine. So you have people in beehives. You have people wearing 40s and 50s. I mean, there's huge markets. There's whole chains going up now for 40s and 50s clothing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that whole sequence could have been today.
Yeah. And that was kind of the thing is with the bellhop, I thought maybe we were, but then as it went on, I thought, no, that doesn't seem like it's a certain way back. It's certainly not like 1800s.
Right.
Right. And I only felt like 1800s because of Nosferatu.
He did look like Nosferatu.
um, but, but yeah, I guess that would be a lesson. If you're doing time transitions, show the time. I mean, everything but put a super on the screen saying we've
It's
just
the
moved.
50s.
Yeah. Um, with a more solid identifier, I don't think it would have been so pausing
Right.
right in, huh?
Yeah.
Kinda. Okay. You know. Um, let's see, we talked the effects were, I mean, solid enough for what they were, for what
Hmm.
there was. I loved the Frankenstein stitching on the
Yes.
scalp
I loved that.
rather than just throw on a wig. So clearly they thought some of this stuff through.
Yeah, and the other thing, the skin colors didn't all match, and
Right.
like it was cool. It
Well,
was very fun.
they also started rotting.
Yes.
Yeah, the ears and the nose.
Yeah.
Um, again, it's a nice little attention to detail. His whole outfit was very unique
Definitely.
in how he was supposed to be presented, or how she imagined him anyway.
Right.
Right. And I will also say, at one point, I thought maybe she might be revealed to have sort of like a Nosferatu like fetish. That's
Right.
kind of her thing, but no, we didn't go anywhere. Ow,
Ooh.
shit.
Yeah, because there was that point where she's like, "Do you love me enough that you would cut off your nose?" And she seemed super into it.
Yeah, yeah. What? Okay. What character development that there was went the wrong direction.
Well, it never resolved.
It never resolved. Well, yeah, because there was different things, and none of it ever met up. Like her at the end, we still don't know if she's like all about, oh yeah, I want a serious relationship, or if she's going to tell him to hit bricks.
Right? They've
Right?
got their arms around each other, but they did just go through like a whole thing.
Yeah, and is that enough? Is that what we're supposed to believe? Because we've been conditioned by 1989 to believe that when you go through terrible shit, the couple from the War of the Roses is going to be like, "Mwah, mwah, 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 we're back together,
Yeah.
live happily ever after."
Yeah.
Because, yeah, whatever. Uh, it, I mean, overall, not a bad film.
It wasn't.
It's more than an earnest effort. I think it's a solid late 80s release movie.
Mm-hmm.
And with the budget, I think it did provide enough level of stuff. The problems that we run into, I think, are like I said, from the director himself, um, the editor, maybe even the cameraman to some point.
It had the whole idea had good bones as a concept.
Yes.
But the house was built with balsa wood and like Crayola paint.
Yeah. It didn't. Yeah. It didn't have it. It was just a big mismatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, I think there's some good lessons here. What not
I
to
think
do.
there are.
I think there are good lessons on what to do, which is use the money appropriately if you have it. If you don't sweat it. Do the best you can. Make something that because one of the things I liked about it was fast paced.
It was. It moved at a good clip.
Yeah, we did not languish. That's a big problem I have with today's films is they'll do a solid 15, 20 minutes in this like dip again that could have been edited out and we'd never know it was written.
Yeah.
Or had anything to do with the film. It was nice economy of pace. The editing could have been better to make that feel even more comfortable. The equipment in use, other than again, like the director not noticing everybody's casting a shadow. Right. On to his scene. You could tell it was there because there's a lot of shots, a lot of angles that you can tell weren't just done one camera at a time.
Right.
Right. So the editing is nice and smooth, foreground, background on each cut matches up. It's also again very 80s in the number of types of angles that they use.
Yes.
That weren't completely necessary. The lesson there, folks, is sometimes that stuff works.
I know.
Right? So this is a good one to watch and see that they went from like a small space to that, fucking library,
Mm-hmm.
which was a shooting location. And it has that same feel, right?
Yeah.
It just like they got it. They've got it. They had nice coverage,
Yeah.
sometimes too many angles in the edit, but at least you get the sense of, well, at least they took the care to get different angles.
Yeah.
For a fact they did. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything?
I think that's it.
So, yeah, Madman.
Madman.
A bedrest find
With a great title.
with a great title. If you see the trailer, there's a part in there where they mention the name of the movie, and it's called Hardcovers.
Yeah, hardcover.
Or Hardcover.
Apparently that was for the Australian release.
So what we were watching, I don't know why it's up there, but you watch the trailer on Tubi, and it is apparently the American-made trailer for release in Australia, where for the movie's release in Australia, they changed the name from Madman to Hardcover.
Yes.
Because at the point, it's that whole, you gotta see this movie. John Smith, all that bullshit.
Hardcover.
Yeah, and it's like, who's he going to get her? Will the lady make it? Blah, blah, blah. Find out in hardcover.
Yeah. That's a great voice.
I miss those movie trailer with the voice.
I know.
That and I mean, I know multiple people have done it, but there's like one standout who's like, king of it, and his daughter is now queen of it.
They still do that for movies in Japan sometimes.
Yes, but I that's kind of, I think, what is missing from today's theater experience. Show me that trailer with that hardcore 70s, I'm going to make you watch this film vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardcover.
Well, that's the kind of narration we're talking about.
Right.
Or yeah, because there is also the kind that's like angrily yelling at you.
Right.
And that never flew with me. But anyway. So Madman, worth a look. Some good lessons. We gave you our website.
lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Yep, everything's there. Click through, click on stuff. Join, subscribe.
Reach out.
Email out.
Us.
Emails there about your film or films you like, or something you acted in, you wrote, you whatever, or, like I said, even if you just did the catering.
Yeah.
And you got some things to talk about, let's do it.
Do
it. Okay. So, yeah, again, as a reminder, scheduling may be off a little bit. Releases might be off a little bit. Doing my best to not have that happen everywhere. But, especially Patreon, just like it's a separate entity, might be more wobbly.
And the next time you hear us,
oh yeah,
B-Siders, we will be recording from our new configuration setup within our studio.
Yeah, not giving up these recliners, but we have a whole thing to change that up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
All right. We love you.
So until next time.
This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
Catch you later.
Bye.